This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome everyone to the LinkedIn PowerLab webinar, the first one for the calendar year 2023. Today is Monday, the 20th of February, and that celebrates also 3 years of me running these webinars every now and then with episode number 34. And now I see more people joining as well, so that is nice. So welcome everyone. By the typical rules, if you could mute yourself would be quite helpful. Otherwise, if you want to contribute, please do. We have a chat window as usual, and we have the best conferencing platform that I know, and I tested plenty of them, as you can guess. So what I want to share for today, I will shortly show, but for those who don't know me, my name is Gunnar. I am, as my, let's say, side after 6 p.m. type of activity. I'm a social media consultant. I am blogging about social selling for 220 weeks in a row, something like that. I created 2 online courses and I published a couple of books. And we have Jonas here in the call who already got one of them, which is the recent one, which is my fairy tale, which is not necessarily for this conversation, but at least thank you, Jonas, for buying that one. By the way, the English version just arrived as well. So in terms of the webinar and content, what I would run for today, I grabbed a current topic which didn't exist maybe when I planned my last webinar too much, and that is about content creation with artificial intelligence, very well knowing that that is a little bit different from what it has been in the past. I see now also Amir joining, and Amir, if you could please go a little bit to the side that I can see the picture that you share, because you share a wonderful bridge. Is it the one in Budapest? Was it yes or no? Or where is it on Paris?
It's
Where's the
default
place?
background, number 2.
Good. Assume, as it's very short, small for me, I hope it's in Budapest, because that is the place where 20 years ago this platform, this company running GoToMeeting has been created, and it's using the same yellow color as your tie for today. So just a bit of a side remark on this one. So the topic for today, content creation with artificial intelligence, covers 3 sections. And please, this is not an advanced session for those who are already using ChatGPT for 3 months and know everything. It's rather the opposite. So systems, how to research for content. Support, how to replace a black screen. That's a big challenge that many people have when they look into writing something on social media or blog or whatever. The third one is the structure, how to craft good copy. And for those who followed me and my webinars every now and then, you see that I have a big passion for taking 3 times the same letter. Now we have Andrew joining from New Zealand. Hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining, one of my fellow book authors from my network here. So that's a good one. So let's get into the topic of AI systems. And please, we also have the chat window here. So if I may ask you to use the chat for the following question, which is, so for those of you who have been using ChatGPT already, what is your key learning from using ChatGPT so far, or from reading about? So who can tell me something about that? What is your key learning from that? And I think, Jonas, you tried. Amir, you didn't, but I'm sure you will. It's for free anyway, and gets you, particularly Amir, in your role as buyer agent, you can surely learn something about it. Cooper, you say very good at generating messages. That's a good way. Never thought about for direct messaging. I thought more for content, but that is fine. So, Jonas, asking real questions instead of searching for keywords. Yes, Gary, it's easy to use, but databases from 2021 for anything factual. Yes, I would ask ChatGPT about the terrific earthquake that hit New Zealand last week, it wouldn't know. When I said earthquake Napier, it would say back in 30s when that happened. I know. So, and yeah, of course, but you haven't seen too much yet about it. Therefore, I have also the content ready for this. Good. Some of you know, some don't. Interesting. I think by statistics, about 1.5% of the world population is already a user. That's quite a lot in short period of time. So let's start. For those who don't know yet, for me, ChatGPT is the first disruptive conversational artificial intelligence with a global mass adoption. For those who don't know yet, it's a company called OpenAI. Microsoft added some money in it, some 10 billion, if memory serves me well. It's based on GPT number 3, and that actually doesn't sound so nice as a term, but it stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. So compared to a normal chatbot, maybe from your airline or from your bank, it is learning. And it learns particularly well when we take it like a dialogue. And that's what I like about it, but most maybe don't even do. It's supervised, it has reinforced learning, therefore it is for free. Otherwise, it would surely cost some money. It has been released in November after 4 years of development. And I started using it in the first half of December and have been amazed by what I can get out of it. ChatGPT became my second favorite search engine. The favorite one being, what other search engine I might like more than that one? Any idea? What would be a preferred one? Not Google, not Bing. My favorite one is and remains Wikipedia. I even pay for that. Because in Wikipedia, I can ask something. For example, yesterday and today was the P&O cruise ship Arcadia there. If I would ask Google, it gets me links that someone added SEO settings, and I would then go link by link by link to learn about. In Wikipedia, someone, whoever, added something in there, so I can read about it. An introduction, facts, more details, even more details. And ChatGPT gives me something like that, much more conversational. The fastest growing consumer app with more than 100 million users in 2 months, who send more than 10 million queries per day. That's massive. Really like that. So it learns from human feedback rather than its actions and experiences. And most people who use it, they would not even say thank you, but then they would say, tell me something about whatever, and then they take it for granted. But we should pay back the favor and say, thank you, but you could have phrased it differently. It wants to learn. So when they tried it first, it was too dangerous to release in 2019. And it's the largest language model so far with 175 billion parameters. That's a bit. You can see some examples here. Explain quantum computing in simple terms, for example. Lovely. Got any creative ideas for 10-year-old's birthday, and so on. The only thing, as I think Gary mentioned, it is limited to the data of 2021. The only thing, there's also danger to it, a big one. Hackers who are very incompetent in creating content that everyone falls into it, they might use it to improve their language. For example, Jonas, having you there from Switzerland, you can't believe I still get messages from Swiss Post, or somebody wants me to believe it is, that something has been delivered to my place. But you know, I left some 6+ years ago, and when I left, and then all my post was directed to you, forwarded to you, and that expired after 6 months. So obviously it's a scam. So in the future, hackers might have better language. Microsoft invested just $10 billion, and now the company is valuated at 29 billion. Jonas, when I met you shortly beforehand, Compaq was acquired by HP for just 20. So I used it for an example. I asked, what is social selling in simple terms? I actually wrote, can you please tell my uncle, and Olin, that's you, what is social selling in the language of a 70-year-old instead of someone who is actually working on it. And the beauty of ChatGPT, it gives you a highlight if you ask something. It gets then further insight, sometimes even a pro and con about something, whatever type of way, and then it summarizes this. So if you only want to know what some term means, it can be good. It's not perfect. Here, for example, it says social selling is the use of social media platforms to sell products or services. I said, no, not this. So then I rated a good but and told him, hello, that's not correct. It's not necessarily to sell. It's not social commerce. So it wants to be corrected. It wants us to tell that they're not happy with that. But at least look at the bottom. In short, social selling is a way to use social media to connect with potential customers and build relationships that can ultimately lead to sales. Exactly. It's wonderful for research. I even figured out that last Wednesday I attended an event and the organizer wanted to give a little impromptu speech to another member of the club for his 40-year anniversary. And then he spoke for 3 minutes and I wonder, where did he get that content from? And he showed me later, he just put it on the fly in ChatGPT and then everything came from there. So that's not too bad. So how to change this content? By the way, if I ask the same question today at 7 p.m. and again at 8 p.m., by guarantee I get a different answer. If we all ask the same question at the same time, we get different answers. ChatGPT is not like Wikipedia, where it's somehow given, or even more, something like what got into print, like the old Encyclopedia Britannia, which only gets released every couple of years back then. So it's not the same thing. It's fluid. It's changing. And when you train it, then it changes even more. I give another example. For example, here I said, could you please help me to fine-tune my LinkedIn headline? My role is, explain that. And it said, certainly, here are a few options for fine-tuning your LinkedIn headline based on the information you provided. It gets me choices. Wonderful. I could copy and paste, well, I don't have to, but I can get inspired how to put it in order. And I said that I work with managed service providers. It came automatically into the idea to call it MSPs because it knows what that actually means, that is the same thing. So that's good. And it says even, I hope. It's a machine. How can a machine hope? Remember to keep your headline concise, clear, and reflective of your professional brand expertise. Good luck. It is as if you ask a mate about that, and that's what I like on it. So that was a very good one, and I gave it a thumbs up. Take another one from one of you. I asked it yesterday evening. So here, thank you. I said, tell me, how can Reiki, as one example of your industry, can help in day-to-day life to improve our health proactively? And it says what Reiki is: complementary therapy that is believed to promote physical, emotional, and spiritual healing. Some ways include, and then it adds 5 things. So imagine one of us being in that industry, as you are, Bell. You ask the question because you want to know what you're writing about in your post. Then it writes a lot there already, and then you can say, yes, the mental clarity, I didn't find the word. And then you can take this and write something by yourself. Especially for those like me, not native speaker, sometimes I'm missing a word. So then I see it, yeah, that was the one I wanted to talk about. And even in this example, which I truly liked, it says, it's important to note, while it can be beneficial, it should not be used as a substitute for medical treatment. If you have health concerns, it's important to talk to a healthcare provider before trying any new therapy or treatment. Not a bad thing. Truly like it. So I think this is good. So there, it's not like Wikipedia, you cannot necessarily quote it, because every day you ask it, it might add a different type of output. And if you ask further and say, thank you for that, can you please talk to me something like how will it help young people? And it would rephrase the whole thing based on a different age group. And then you can say, does it help those people who have this or that condition? And that would rethink. So that is that's the interesting one about it. So question, how can you ensure that the source is reliable? That's the point. If you ask a neighbor, hey, can you please tell me something about this or that? You cannot ask your neighbor to give proof. They don't. If you ask your teacher in school, or Cooper, if you ask in your last year in university that your professor gives you proof as well, and where to get the quote from what they say, they might not be able to do so. Take ChatGPT as your mate, not as the legal source given in blood and in paragraphs. That it won't be, but it gets you on an idea, and that is what counts. Let me just switch on the light. So that's what I personally like about it. You can combine things. So in this example, I didn't ask just what that Reiki would be, but I said, how can it help in day-to-day life to improve our health proactively? I could rephrase and say, how can it help someone after whatever surgery, whatever? You can ask anything and then drill down further, and that makes the difference. But why would I do this instead of Wikipedia? Because Wikipedia means that someone has done that before and people need to do it. So there are things which are pieces of content where you don't find too much in Wikipedia, but you want to connect the dots. You cannot ask Wikipedia a question like that because somebody must have written it beforehand. This bot can connect dots and learn from each other. We have more example. What the paragraph says which you wrote is very good. When you ask here, it is good to give a bit of a warning. So if you would say, if you would ask, for example, about marijuana, how can a biscuit of marijuana that you legally get in Colorado help you with your mood? It might answer that, but it, I think, also will give you a warning. Be careful, that doesn't work in every state. It can be illegal and there are concerns. That's what I like about it. So it gets ideas, particularly for research. It has also threats, concerns, especially content marketers, content creators. Some of them felt nobody needs them anymore. If I'm tasking a marketer to write me something, I can now say, I don't need you. I use ChatGPT and I have a blog post. Done. But there's a range of tools using artificial intelligence who figure out if a text beforehand has been written using tools like this one. So Cooper, your example when you are finishing your university degree, in many universities here in Australia, they already say you cannot use ChatGPT for your research stuff, or not for your writing stuff. And there is at least one company, a startup from University of Technology in Sydney ecosystem, who created a kind of an antibot against that. So that, of course, does not work. So I wouldn't use this as an answer as a lawyer. For example, is it lawful to do this or that? I wouldn't take it granted for that one. Or would I get a fine if I drive faster than 51 kilometers? Well, maybe it can catch that. So you need to, by yourself, think about the do's and don'ts, the risk versus the chances. Don't take it for granted anyway. Yeah, so there are ways, Cooper, as you say, they can find if you use ChatGPT or something. Where I like it for is to get me on ideas. That is the main thing. So therefore, question to you. Do you, oops, sorry, that was too fast. Wrong cursor, one moment to get back here. Do you, sorry, can't type into the chat automatically. Yeah, hope it works now. Yeah, answer in the chat, please. Do you write your social media content from a blank screen, or do you use a template? Fully out of this AI type of approach. So when you post something, you start with nothing, or do you have a template in your head, or even you use one? Gary, blank, yeah. Actually, for me, often as well, but I have the template in my head, so I know the structure to write. That's a lot. One of your customers was visual learning, wants me to show a beach suburb to them in pictures. Interesting. Can ChatGPT select the type of visual audio to kinesthetic words? I think you can give it a try. Yeah, it can work with visuals. It doesn't show them, but it can have some imaginations for that. I've seen that beforehand. Yeah. So, question: anyone using type of? I know, Bell, you use blank when you start writing. I know that. Jonas, when you write, I think back in the days, HP would give you something to press on a button to post, which is not necessarily creative. Otherwise, you need to do by yourself. So let me try to talk about it. And sorry, the rest part, I missed the animations here. So there are 3 ways to write social media posts. Look on the left part, freestyle. You start your post. You stare at the blank screen, you don't know what to write, which many do even on the mobile. It's easy, a small one then. Then you craft your sentence in your own structure. For example, Andrew, when I started to review your book again on last week Friday, I had the book review, everything ready, but I had to also craft a post for that. And I took a hook because it was the week of Valentine's Day. But I've done it completely in my head beforehand, and I didn't use any type of structure. For another book review I've done from, I think it was Mark McInnes last year, I used a visual structure that I had beforehand, where it looks like a bit of a triangle type of text, but normally I don't. And here, if you even start, that is a famous black screen or blank screen on when you want to start a post. It only says what you want to write about. LinkedIn has even templates, but it's more colors instead of a structure. And for everyone who wonders why you don't see anyone commenting, here is the word anyone that you can see on the screen. And the word anyone means if you click on it, you can decide who is commenting on your post. Anyone, no one, or your connections only. You cannot change it in the settings. You need to change this here on the fly. I had that with one of you recently. So that's freestyle. Blank screen, then you think about writing. For content creators, possible. For corporate employees, Jonas, you would think about what should I write about? The screen remains white. I do not know what I write about. I go to work and work instead. That unfortunately in corporate space we don't have it too much. While for others, Andrew, you, seeing a lot of your content over the years, you are a storyteller. You just say what you experience. And when you shared some of your experience in a webinar at an event, you capture that very moment and that you put into words. But that's what your book, Business from the Heart, also enables you to. So you're a rare example where you can simply go and craft it, and you know somewhere it sits in your 2 books already. That's what resonated well with your book. So alternative is you use a template. You copy a successful post that you've had, and you just change what needs to be changed. Therefore, I'm a big fan of capturing the URL of a post that you've done, or even the whole text. I have them for every year. I have one Word file with all of my posts, everything that I wrote. I can easily go back and say that apparently was good. I grab this and just change it. Example, before the pandemic, I attended an event from a fantastic marketing software company called HubSpot. Back in the days, I even wanted to work there. And I thought, how do I make that happen? Should I apply for a job? And they invited a speaker who I knew quite well, Graham Hawkins, who had that 30,000 followers, whatever. So I simply captured what was there, what I heard at the event, the discussion between the people, made a photo of them, posted straight away. And later, the counterpart of Graham was the country manager of HubSpot. When I then got into the range of applying and somebody introduced me to him, he said, oh, I already know, Gunnar always talks about HubSpot in public. So then this apparently was successful. I grabbed this as a template and used the same approach moreover. So copy post even from others and search for a structure. So if you would find out, and I think, Andrew, you might know, Jonas, not sure, there's one famous person on the internet called Justin Welch, one of those top gurus with 300,000+ followers. He has a certain way how he writes. He will never add a picture, just pure text. And I learned also some of those and take and copy and paste from his type of structure. Or the way how I do, I start often with either a statement or a question, so that in the first 3 lines, it's enticing enough that people click on see more to see the rest and the picture that jumps into the head. That's an example here, which got some 7,300 impressions so far. My first arrival in Sydney. And Jonas, you studied there back in the days. I mean, how long ago? 18, 19, 17 years, I don't remember. You told me, and you might remember your time when you arrived here. So then for many people, this kind of welcome, it resonates, and then they click and see more. So on the right-hand side, you can start writing using systems like, say, pre-made content and advocacy tools. Jonas, at HB, you might have had then a tool that gives you a choice of posts, same that I get at GoTo, same what I got at Hootsuite, for example. Or you can use the structure that ChatGPT gives you. One of the posts that I showed 10 minutes ago had this. It tells about something, what is social selling, and then it gets you 2 more paragraphs to talk an example, maybe some further reading, and then a conclusion. You can take the structure of this, but don't copy the same thing. So how can you get from an idea to a post? So what else was there? So I'm not on ChatGPT at this moment, but I'm getting back to this one. So how can you get from an idea to a post? First of all, the difference from learning to applying, we need to brainstorm. I'm a big fan of using some kind of journaling on Evernote, Google Keep, Microsoft Word, whatever is there. So many options where you write something in it. You can set up even a folder on your smartphone for screenshots, because I'm a big fan of screenshotting ideas that I can get quickly to it back later. And using iCloud across all my devices, I always find it at the same place, doesn't matter which machine. Then I think about, I have content, what type of formats are there? Text only, with images, with carousel, running well, with document, video, polls, and what type of templates? A list post, the 5 best reasons for using ChatGPT as a corporate employee, for example, or the event webinar that I mentioned, or curiosity question post. There's so many ways, result post I can create and then use them. Sound only, Amir, you mentioned that. Sound only without text. Many people sit in public transport using social media without the headset on. They might not be able to get that. So typically, if you would have a video, you might want to have some summary in text as well. Clubhouse, yeah, I heard Clubhouse was replaced with LinkedIn audio, and Twitter also has something like that. Yeah, then of course it's like radio, you need to have audio. Yeah, it exists, no doubt, but not everyone is only on that. So if we now take all of this together, and then we try to put ChatGPT into that equation to replace the blank screen. A couple of do's and don'ts. As you've seen earlier in these examples, and I have more, one more, you can research by asking in dialogues. ChatGPT, can you please think like a social media manager and tell me how can I talk about social selling to someone? And then you can rephrase and say, not good enough. Can you please add this or that? So you can do a lot of this type of stuff on it. So then you can tell him, is it actually him or her or it? It's a good question. I'm not sure. Here I wrote about ChatGPT as a he, but it doesn't have to be. I can ask ChatGPT to act in a certain role. Please write in as if you are a teacher in primary school. Then the response will be different compared to, please respond to me as a university professor in English medieval literature. It will be a completely different answer. And then do this, get inspired for a structure, not only for the words, but also for the structure, how it composes this together. That's what it can do quite well. Be kind. It helps yourself, not him. If you are rude to ChatGPT, he still might give you answers, but it doesn't help yourself being calm. So be kind. And submit feedback. So here I said the answer was very good. Main thing is that social selling does not mean to sell directly on social media. Submit feedback. He will learn. At least he will learn when I ask the same question again, because everyone is using it with a login. So it remembers everything that I asked beforehand. It's not completely ignorant about it. He knows what I want. But don't do that. Stop with one answer. I learned it, gone. Doesn't help him. Doesn't help him to learn. We cannot even take the results for granted because, as one of you mentioned, we don't have proof. But it gets us to ideas. Don't just copy and paste as if it's yours. And don't ignore his desire for learning. And even don't ask him how he feels. I said, hey, I asked how I am made. He said, as an AI language model, I don't have feelings, but I'm here and ready to assist you. How can I help you today? Sounds friendly. So let's be friendly. Helps also to be more friendly and kind to humans. So asking again, my example of social selling. How should a social media marketer tell her CEO what social selling is all about? Sorry for the typo. Then it's small to read. I only give you the essence of it. It says social selling is a process of leveraging social media platforms to build relationships with potential customers. It ultimately drives sales. As a social media marketer, here are some key points you can use to explain social selling to your CEO. So you can see what it does. It doesn't give you what you say directly to the CEO. It first addresses yourself, the social media marketer, and then gives something, 4 bullet points to tell the CEO. But then summarizing, by explaining these key points to your CEO, you can help them understand what social selling is all about and how it can benefit your company. It's important to remember that social selling is a long-term strategy that requires patience and consistency, but when done right, it can be a highly effective way to grow your business. And you can guess, I took this, sent it to marketing in my company. I loved it to say it's a long-term strategy that requires patience and consistency. Good one. So then I asked further, thank you. What about I should tell the same CEO in the same role more specifics about LinkedIn instead of just social selling? And then it says, yeah, absolutely. When it comes to social selling on LinkedIn, here are some key points to keep in mind when explaining it to your CEO. And then 5 points related to LinkedIn. The only thing, it believes there are 700 million users, which in the meantime is 840. But it doesn't know, because the knowledge level of ChatGPT was by end of 2021. Training it further cost millions of dollars of training. That hasn't been done yet, but it will come, because there is a paid version as well. So it refines. You can then further go and ask further iterations. So that's what I like. You have someone to ask questions. They put as if they are reading a dictionary and an encyclopedia, and always respond to this. And then you can get it down. What do you think? Is it useful? Any feedback? Andrew would say, I'm missing the heart in it. It's just facts or talking about it. And you're right. It's not human to human. Correct. And I would say, if you take that, it's basically artificial intelligence, and you would have maybe this type of content. Think about Cooper, your university, your professor would have the opposite of this, the machine that is reading content driven by AI, and that machine can also be done by AI. So we have machine to machine talking, so that the student and professor can go on a pub and have a beer. That's a bit my personal view on that. So, getting further. I think it's a fascinating stuff, and I talked to one journalist guru and social media trainer and so on, and she's been amazed by the facts that come out, especially when you see it from a legal point of view. It knows quite a lot. That's good. But let's further think. I said we can use it for building a structure, not just for getting ideas. So, question, and I would like to see an either or answer. Would you use ChatGPT to write your post, or only use it as inspiration? Cooper, inspiration, that's good, because you as a student, you can take more the other way around. And Gary, you say to write it. So I personally, I'm also more on the inspiration side. And Jonas, a mix of both actually is not a bad approach, because it's a situative approach. Sometimes this and sometimes that. I think you are hitting it quite well. What did Andrew, what you said? I would like to see the ability to explain things in my voice. Yep, and that unfortunately is the mental approach to it that you need to do by yourself. You need to add, because I ask it, can you tell me who is Andrew Hogarth? I try with Justin Welch, but let's say Andrew as an example. And it would say, it's an AI model. I'm not allowed to talk about people. So you cannot have that. Even the person might be that well known, published author or whatever, and it might know of whoever authors from the past, like Shakespeare, obviously, but not from those currently. So that's not necessary. So what else do we have? Let's get on. So the way how I choose content is this one. I call it Trello. Does anyone know Trello? It's the name of a software company, but I don't mean that. It's my method to choose content. So that's how Trello looks like, which is a project management type of software owned by Atlassian, one of the fantastic 3 Aussie software companies, the other one being Canva and Linktree. So my method to choose content is 6 letters. I write something which is building trust, showing results. That doesn't mean bragging about the Lamborghini, which, by the way, Amir, with your yellow tie and Lamborghini would suit your personal brand quite well, because apparently they only create yellow cars. Got it? But results is more showing the success story, how your service helps your client to achieve what they want. So Amir, you are a buyer agent on real estate. When you show something, you don't say how much money you made out of a property you have been involved in, but rather how your client is shining and happy. about the life that changed thanks to your work. That is how I see your content. And you can put the enthusiasm. And one of the best examples I found, Andrew, I miss asking you for a nice picture with your book, but I found that from an event where you had 50 people with your book up there, and everyone has been like a true advocate for it, like happy person, enthusiastic about it. So you orchestrated that photo very well. For those who haven't seen it, was my post from last week, Friday. I talk about learning. I'm not the teacher. I'm rather the one who's learning and sharing that. And I talk about lifestyle. That's again not the Lamborghini. Lifestyle means rather to showcase the life around me. You saw the picture before of the Sydney Opera House, and I share often also on Instagram and on Facebook live here about, and actually not too bad. And only then, letter number 6, I can talk about the opportunity, which in my case means talking about the remote management software, for example, or unified communication contact center. I would thank Jonas very much for your company, HB, to be one of the biggest clients of GoTo when it comes to our software called Rescue in the call centers. Thank you very much. But I know you didn't decide it. So that's things like opportunity. I can talk about that. Provide value in all posts, post once per day, pitch never, and produce in batches 4 times P. And you can also put it into a screenshot of a Twitter, which I posted back in the days under Hootsuite, and I have it and use it as an image. So that is a way to choose content first, not to have this blank screen, and then look into how we can go from publish to engagement. Think about where we can add ChatGPT into the whole game for the last couple of slides. So schedule. I'm a big fan of creating a calendar when to post. I write half of the content in batches. Maybe on a Sunday, I produce in advance, I schedule, and then it goes out. But I need to ensure that I'm online just afterwards. Other posts I craft ad hoc. I'm a big fan of taking comments that I find somewhere else and maybe take this even into a post. Then I think about publishing. We need to post when the audience is there. The best content, assisted by ChatGPT or by yourself, won't work when you post it at a time like midnight, when your audience won't be there before 7:30 and everything else would come in their feed. So therefore, pay attention that you post then or you schedule. And LinkedIn now schedules as well, because you need to avoid getting your posts into the feed of your audience. And use the scheduler software, now LinkedIn, but Hootsuite is the best option of this one to post at the right time. Still love it. And then we need to engage. Doesn't matter what type of content we have, the first 2 hours of engagement counts afterwards. Be not the first to comment on your own post. Be not the first who likes it. And if you ever, that comes from Richard van der Blom and his LinkedIn algorithm analytics, if you want to comment on someone else's post, please comment first and like the post then. No need to like your own comment, but the first reaction on something counts for the post. If your first comment, the comment has higher points internally than a like, then it's better. So why I say this? Because that is a statistic from Richard van der Blom, who analyzed hundreds of thousands of posts with his company and figure out what works and what doesn't work. So you want to bring readers to your post. Don't tag too many people in the post that they see it. Rather, send the post to them. At the bottom below with an arrow, send it to them. Say, hey Andrew, here's my post about the book review. I want you to see it and please comment on it. And he did. Thank you for that. You can tag people in your comments, but not too many. So there's a question here. What about if you comment to add engagement in your post? Yeah, don't beg too much about it. Hey, can you please? I also do occasionally that I say when I talk about in the future a book review about a book called Sales from the Heart, that I will tag Andrew, because yours is called Business from the Heart. I would say, hey Andrew, your title is quite close. What do you think about this one? But I wouldn't put 15 people in a comment on my own post and tag all of them, because it is perceived by the algorithm as spam. So better I send the post to others in a direct message with the relevant hint. So that's much better. The sense of, hey, Jonas, look, I just found this at HB and I posted about it. Didn't happen too much lately, sorry. But the first ever post I wrote, ever, was, I think, 1 month after being out of HB, was about an HB product. Yep, learning that. So now combining all of this stuff together. I call it here 3 steps to AI-inspired content. Research and learn. So find successful content or a structure of material. What you can do, instead of only relying on ChatGPT, if you want to also have content that is running well, find viral LinkedIn content that has been successful. How to find that? There's a tool, also artificial intelligence, called Tablio. It's a free, I don't know, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever, that you can find there. And that tells you which posts are very successful. Then you can study them and take an existing success from someone and put it to ChatGPT and say, hey, can you write me something similar to this structure about that topic? And ChatGPT can think structure and apply the structure from successful posts onto something new. Like in mathematics, if you say 2 + 3 is 5, put it in there and say, can you please do something similar but add 10 to each? And then it would come out a post says that 12 + 15 is 27. This type of approach it can do. Or you can say, there was a good video somewhere. Imagine, Amir, you would have an Instagram video talking about success story, how some people are happy with the property that you found for them. And they talk about something. There's a tool where you can grab the transcript from YouTube. Grab that, put it into ChatGPT, and ask it to rewrite it. Okay, you can research not just by the tool, but you can feed ChatGPT with something that is already good and ask it to do something about your topic by utilizing other success. And then you go after trial and error. You can ask ChatGPT to act as a role. Hey, ChatGPT, please act as if I'm whatever, a nurse, or if I'm a divorce lawyer, or whatever it is, and then ask for something more. And then, for example, task ChatGPT to write a post based on the research that you've done on the left-hand side of the screen, applied to a role. Imagine I'm a primary school teacher, something like this. So Tablio is tablio.com, or I have it on the slide. So then further iteration of the prompts. So prompt is the term what you type in until it's good enough. Then tell ChatGPT what the format will look like, because it would act differently if you say, can you please write me a LinkedIn post, compared to an email newsletter, it would write more, or a Twitter thread. For those who don't know, Twitter is short, but you can put it as a thread so that it's more combined together. And then they are posted like 1 of 9, 2 of 9, 3 of 9, and so on. And it knows that. ChatGPT is clever on that. Ask also for variations with different words using dialogues. You can say, ask for whatever post, and then say, can you please exaggerate some of the words here, like black against white, big against small, and whatever. And then it will recraft words of what it has done before. And it will never complain on the task. It will never be tired of doing. And when you have that, and you put it on left part of your screen, go on the right side, and then you write your own post based on the structure it has given you, but instead of just copying. That, I think, is a highlight. Research and learn of it, do trial and error, combine all together, craft and post until it's ready And then you create your own voice, particularly Andrew, what you said, make it human. Don't keep it just by AI. Change the order of things so that it's yours. I think that is maybe the most important slides of all of those. So what is actually Tablio? So here we have it. I missed adding the URL. I put it in the slides. I think it was tablio.com if memory serves me well. It is. It has a free version to it, a free start at least to it. Otherwise, it costs a little bit. But it is another social media, or better to say, yeah, tablio.com. It's a LinkedIn creation and scheduling tool. It doesn't do Twitter. It does only LinkedIn. And what you have in there, can train it as well, is artificial intelligence, and it's basically your personal AI-powered writing coach. It finds inspiration from more than 4 million viral posts. A post is viral when it hits 3 times your followers. If you have 100 followers, viral is easy. If you have 100,000, you need to have a post that at least has 300,000 impressions to be counted as viral and then shared even more. And it has all of them here. So for the content creator community, for those who are active on that, and it helps also by creating the latest news in your industry. It knows it all. The fantastic new tools are out there, which is lovely. Scheduling, analytics, and it has even a 30-day LinkedIn challenge. And I will start it maybe on early March to really find out how I can get better by doing so. The next tool, just only as a side effect, there's plenty of artificial intelligence tools, but the next one is a cool one called Hello Woofy. Social media management using AI. It used to be, or when I've been at Hootsuite, I got a partnership with Hello Woofy, involved in that one. It's social media for underdogs. Think about the very small companies, 2, 3 staff, who don't necessarily have an expensive content creator, social media manager. So it helps for small businesses to include in artificial intelligence type of guide for post. And it does it already for 3 years or so. They have its own hashtag engine. It suggests you, why don't you use this or that? It's very, very cool thing. Creates blog episodes, newsletters, not just social media. Even emojis, integrates with Hootsuite and other tools. And the founder is, I think he just turned 30, from New York, Indian background, great guy, really like Hello Woofy. One other example of artificial intelligence beyond just ChatGPT. So summary, big sentence, don't copy text from ChatGPT straight into your post. No. So summarizing the whole call, the last 57 minutes, we talked into systems, the background of ChatGPT, a bit of a research and learn. We talked about support with the blank screen, how to get into a post and some further examples. And then the structure, where to get inspiration, how my Trello structure works, and tools like Tablio and Hello Woofy. It was one of the most text-heavy webinars that I prepared. I know, because ChatGPT only gives us text, but that's fine. In my view, it's not replacing content writers, but it enables better research, better ideas, and it makes good content writers even better. It's not necessarily fully replace people, so that's a good thing. So any further questions from anyone? You can put in the chat, otherwise we'll stay on. And let me show you a bit about next steps for those who are in the whole topic, because especially smaller businesses often have troubles, and that actually is also valid for corporate employees. Jonas, your colleagues. I remember when I've done an activity with AMD in Europe, for example, 2 years ago, many of them are overcautious, not know what to write, overwhelmed by all of the feed and so much not for me, and overthinking how to be perfect, which never works. And in the same time people are doing this, others simply do trial and error and post, learn, post and learn, and grab that business that others don't do. 3 times O on this slide. So how can I help on that one? I've actually a couple of things how I helped over the last years. So I have my own online course called Organic LinkedIn Course, quite simple. By the naming, I help some with LinkedIn profile refresh, happy to do that. And I can also help on a one-on-one base. It's a bit more cherry picking for me because I have my happy main role. I'm working in a fantastic software company called GoTo. But if there's some time left and somebody of my ecosystem needs some help, I'm happy to help. And 2 things to mention, especially today. Number 1, I added my organic LinkedIn course, which goes over completing the profile, connecting, content, and converting. I added this just now into a tool called Gumroad. It's a marketplace for digital products, fresh in there for February, March, and only for $49 the regular course and 99 including profile work on it. It's the lowest price I've ever done that, and it sits in a different platform than normal. Just to try it out over there. Here's a link. You get the slides, and you can take it from there. That is my course, where I went over. I think it might be some 1.5 hours or so in 4 modules and 12 lessons to go over that one. And the other thing which is coming in May, that is my own new book called Connect and Act: Systematic Social Selling. Andrew, you and I have been just chatting today about the book, the memory serves me well. So then that's the one that will come out on my side. And in order to get that learning on self-publishing done, I've finished my own fairy tale and published this one as well. And then this hopefully will go well. So on the website, on the link here, connectandactbook.com, you can type in, register to be notified once it's fully out there. Currently writing will be 148 pages at least, if not a little bit more. And then looking forward to do the other way around, that some of my fellow book authors who I reviewed, I can talk about the other direction. So Andrew, this will be a book with a lot of heart for myself inside, as you can guess. It's not just my Monday morning social selling posts and 42 of them, but it also adds expertise from 33 others I put inside there. That's what's coming, and I'm endeavoring a book launch on my birthday on May the 4th. So that's what I wanted to share for today. Any further questions from any of you? Andrew, thank you. Yeah, a pleasure having you there. So that's very kind. Of course, starting on this one, the whole topic is more like an introduction, so it's not everything which is clear out there, but one day people experience more with AI tools like ChatGPT, and keen to see more about that.
If I may say something, may I say something? I mean, not everybody in your audience is like some of the people in here as technically advanced as yourself. So, and there was a lot in your webinar tonight, which is very interesting. But I think that you could, the next one you have, you could break some of that down into more detail, some of that for your audience, if you feel it would help them with small business, because there's so much in this. One could get lost in translation, if I may say that, as with the much respect, because I think you've done a magnificent job with what you've covered.
Yeah, thank you. And what I even believe is one thing: there is 3 types of people with ChatGPT. Those early adopters, content creators, marketers, who are very well advanced. I try to tap into this one. Then those who have no clue about it, and then more the vast majority who might have heard but don't know really what to do with that. I even consider creating a special online course, let's say ChatGPT for beginners, how you can tap into that world. But I would maybe not hit those experts who are already far ahead, who are already content creator for years and so on. It's a different audience. But there's 2 groups, especially on one side, corporate employees who don't use anything like this and are often too much afraid of using social media to post in the first place. And then the other group would be those who would like to learn more, but need a bit of hand holding. So therefore, I
Yeah,
thought,
and maybe, and on that note, on that second point you raised, perhaps not giving them a course, but doing something like this, where you do like a part where you take one of those areas that you break down in more detail. You know, there's the script where you do the talking and
yeah,
you
I
use
can.
that to get ideas, or the other one you mentioned, which is the Tapilo, T-A-P-L-I-O, and then how that would work. Because sometimes it's not that people don't want to learn more, they're just not aware of what's out there. And if you break it down and show a little bit more detail, they think, oh, I've grasped that skill, now I can try and apply it, rather than doing a whole full course, which may not be everything they need.
I know, very well aware of that one. But even if those people need 4 or 5 hours of hand holding in sessions, I better group them all together into form of a course after another of these sessions. Yeah, of course. Yeah, but I see that.
After another one of these sessions, you need to get more of this, because you remember, you're very technically minded in a way that not everybody has that gift, and sometimes it's a lot to take in. It's nice to break it down a bit, because it's been very interesting, really, really interesting what you've covered.
Thank you. Any more feedback? Andrew Cooper, good to see you still there. Anything further to think about? Thank you for joining, right?
I've been practicing ChatGPT through this whole conversation, and I've been learning a lot. So, yeah, I've been actually posting more on LinkedIn while doing this using ChatGPT.
Excellent.
I know. All good. So thanks everyone for joining. Appreciate. And you will receive the slides and the recording tomorrow morning. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Gunnar.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Ollie.
Thank you, Gunnar. Servus.
Bye-bye.